Okay, Kingdom Lifestyle Modification Challenge. And we are right now opening the screen. And I know that you're going to find this tonight's webinar very, very interesting. The questions that you might have been having about fats and about cholesterol. I hope that it can bring some clarity to it so that a lot of the things that the medical doctors have been saying to us when we go for our visits, oh, you need to lower your cholesterol, you need to stay away from that oil, and so on and so forth. Yet tonight, we're going to look at these oils and the cholesterol and really understand it so that we can make mindful decisions when it comes to these. And as you can see, a beautiful array of sources of both fats and cholesterols. EFAs. EFAs are the acronym for essential fatty acids. And they're essential in the sense that our bodies doesn't make it and we need it from outside sources. But the sources, the type that comes from the sources must be able to be utilized by the body without causing harm to the body, first of all. And then it must be taken in the amounts that are needed for the benefit of the body. So we're looking at EFAs, essential fatty acids, the fats we need and those we don't need. Fats and cholesterols. What we're going to look at, first we're going to get an introduction, then a definition for what is fat, what is cholesterol, and then what the body requires. Then we're going to have a summary and going to go into discussion. Now, you can see on your right, there's a diagram. That diagram is a diagram of a blood vessel. And the inner area here, and here, and here, and here, all represent the opening in your blood vessel, whether it's capillary, artery, or a vein. And that's where the blood flows through. As you can see, this would represent a healthy blood vessel. This would represent a blood vessel that has the beginning accumulation of what is known as plaque. And plaque is an accumulation of the bad cholesterol, which we'll talk about, and fats and other items that are being built upon. And as you can see, it's narrowing the blood vessels. The more cholesterol in the blood vessels, the narrower the blood vessel is. Now, look at the importance of blood flow in the body. When the blood vessels are narrowed, we are in great danger. Believe it or not, many people today, because of our diets, are not knowing the difference, especially with good fats and bad fats, are walking around in a very dangerous condition. Now here we have LDL and HDL, and we're going to go into all of that. So let me just move along. Our introduction. There has been so much misunderstanding concerning fats and cholesterol. It is important on our journey, this KLMC journey, to sustain good health. We must understand what is good and what is not good. In this presentation, you'll learn what are fats, how are they classified, what types of fat we need for good health, how much we need, and the natural sources of it. We'll also provide information defining cholesterol, how cholesterol is classified, what type we need, and the natural sources of them. Well, we also learn about the cholesterol we don't need. or we need in a small, tiny amount. It will also recommend the nutritional ratio needed of both for attaining, sustaining, and maintaining good health. Both fats and cholesterol are what you call lipids. And lipids and fats, the names are interchangeable. You talk about fats and cholesterol, you're talking about lipids, you're talking about oils. And the basic quality of the lipid is it is insoluble in water. When you pour oil in water, you notice that it does not break down in the water. You'll see fat globules on top of the water floating at the top. That means that it is not uh, breaking down in the water, so it's insoluble. And that's how fats are classified. Now we go to the definition. What are fats? Fats are a type of nutrient that you get from your diet. It is made up of fatty acids. Now, these acids, when they come together, they are what forms what we consider fat. It is essential, very important for us to eat some fats, though it is also extremely harmful for us to eat too much. Fats we eat give our bodies energy, the energy that it needs to work properly, especially in the functioning of the brain and the heart. And this is something that we need to pay very close attention to. Fats give energy. As a matter of fact, fats are a secondary source of energy, the secondary source of energy in the body. The primary source for our energy is carbohydrates, but fats are extremely important because where the carbohydrates are not giving us energy, in the areas where the carbohydrates do not provide our energy, the fats are actually, fats and cholesterol are actually providing what is needed. And I'll tell you where those areas are that require the fats. Well, we already mentioned it, the heart and the brain. Now, concerning fats, this is what we should understand also, that all oils are fats. They're classified as fats. All oils are classified as fats, but not all fats are oil. The difference is oils tend to be liquid at room temperature, while fats are solid at room temperature. So that's the difference between an oil and a fat, but both are still considered fats. Both have nutritional functions in the body. Now, fats are derived from both animals and plants. How many in the platform is aware that, say, a lettuce actually has oil in it? Yeah. There is natural oil, even in vegetables, that do not appear oily. And the fats that are in the plants are in the right proportion. When I say the right proportion, the very type of ratio that benefits the body is the same ratio of the oil in the plants. So that gives us, when we eat the plants, a good portion in its right amount, so that it aids and not causes damage. And one thing we must be aware of, and that is the body only needs a certain amount. Now, there are also 3 types of fats that I want to bring to your attention. You might have heard of these already, but these I want to show you so that when you go into the store and you hear even your doctor talking about these or using these terms, that you'll recognize that, oh, that's that. Okay? Now, the 3 types of fats are called SCFAs, and a T should actually be an A. The SCFAs, short chain fatty acids. Then you have the MCFAs, which are medium chain fatty acids. And then you have the LCFAs, long chain fatty acids. Okay? Remember those acronyms. because most likely you will hear them again because you are now aware of it. When it's being spoken of, you'll know exactly what they're talking about. Now, the short chain fatty acids are the types of oils or fats that you are very, very familiar with because it gets so much promotion these days, and that is the omega-3. And these fatty acids, they are the short chain have 2 to 6 um, carbon atoms. When we move to the medium chain fatty acids, you have 6 to 12 carbon atoms making the chain, and this is your basically your omega-6. And then the long chain fatty acids having 13 to 21 carbon atoms in the chain. So that's the difference between an omega-3, omega-6, and then what they call a long chain fatty acid. And we're going to look at how these benefits the body and how it hurts the body. There's also the trans fats. And as you can see, the trans fats do have, they are solid at room temperature. But most of all, you see on that imperial margarine label, it says non-hydrogenated. Well, they put that there because most of these trans fats, or all of them, are hydrogenated. So this is a form that has been dehydrogenated, but most of them that you would see without use are hydrogenated, meaning that high heat was used in its processing. And we're going to learn about heat on oils, the danger of heat on oils. Then once we understand that, we'll understand why when you go to the doctor, they say stay away from fried foods. They're not telling you exactly why, but these foods, the fats used, have actually at high temperatures changed in their chemical composition, and that means that it is no longer what it started out as. It's something completely different. And when that happens, that's a Pandora's box that has been opened, because that new chemical structure is what destroys the body. It's what the doctors call carcinogenics, and that is they cause cancer. Now, could you imagine when we look at the far right here, we have things that have been deep fried. Now, imagine how much of this deep fried that we have been eating all our lives. Think about where we get these from and how much we pay to actually eat this death. Because that's what it is. It's actually the cause, or one of the major causes, of why our body breaks down and we have adverse effects. Now, we're talking about fats, and these actually cause what we saw in the blood vessels earlier. They contributed, but what we will see when we go into the next section is that this has caused what the whole world is experiencing now, who actually live on the high fried food diet or ultra processed diet, the heart attacks, the strokes. We're looking at the cause right in front of us. There's something else that I want you to understand as we go along, and there's still a difference. Now, there is a there are categories that you'd find the same items popping up for. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Here we're talking about unsaturated and saturated fatty acids. Again, this is another division in the fats. Unsaturated, that means it is not, it's not its carbons are not such that it's concentrated. It's unconcentrated actually. The saturated is concentrated. Okay. Now unsaturated and saturated fats refer to the fats having what is called a double bond between the carbon molecules. Now we looked at the omega-3 that had the short chain fatty acid. That would have a double bond. That would have many double bonds. Then you have the saturated fats that have no carbon, no bonds, no double bonds at all. Unsaturated fats have one or more double bonds versus saturated having no double bond. And I hope this is not taking you back to chemistry class, because what I want to do is make it as untechnical as possible, because we must understand. So we go to our screen again, and the top screen where we have the salmon, the avocado, we have nuts, and then we have the nutty butter. These would be classified as unsaturated fats. So when we think about unsaturated fats, we're thinking about the fats that we're getting from the avocado, from the beans, the peanut butter, okay, from the nuts, and of course from the salmon. And we know also that these same items give us our omega-3s. So what we're noticing here is that the same food items that gives us the short chain fatty acids are the very ones that give us the unsaturated fats. And this is actually what the body needs. Whereas everything below are saturated fats, and they have the long chain fatty acids. So I hope what we're doing is, if anyone is not familiar with fats, good or bad, that this is beginning to open the mind, because this is an introduction to fats. Unsaturated fats versus saturated fats. Unsaturated fats, remember, that's our omega-3s, so on, and some omega-6s, medium chain fatty acids. These are the fats the body utilizes for normal healthy functions. That is, good heart functions, good brain functions, good clean energy. It also gives the bone its suppleness. Oil makes things supple. And that the same thing happens within the body for the bones. It helps in shock absorption. If oil was not present between the joints and in cartilage, then we would have a very difficult time absorbing shock. Our bones would actually be grinding against each other. As a matter of fact, that is what happens when the oil is removed or broken down from between the bones. That is, the cartilage is broken down and removed so that the bone is touching the bone. And that is something that we know has happened and is happening, because there are a lot of people with bone on bone. And that is because the oil that they have been taking in was not the oil needed. So it's the type of oil that your body needs that actually gives the benefits, and it is the oil that the body does not need that creates havoc. Another one is essential colon health. And this is very interesting, because you would remember that when we did the webinar on good gut health, we had in our friendly flora the good bacteria that actually produce an SCFA. Yes, there are those that produce omega-3 in the gut. That's why an omega-3 cannot really be classified as an essential fatty acid, even though it is, because our guts are so unhealthy that we need supplementation to get what is though the body really needs back in. So remember that when we have good gut health, we actually are contributing to the short chain fatty acid supply in our bodies because it's needed for digestion and absorption and elimination. Now, unsaturated fatty acids versus saturated fatty acids. Now, there are some MCFAs and the medium chain fatty acids. There are some that are saturated, and all long chain fatty acids are saturated. These are fats that damage the body and cause disease, like as I mentioned, the heart attacks, the strokes, obesity, Alzheimer's disease. Yes, it is the bad fat that breaks down the brain cells because remember, the brain and the heart need healthy oil in order to operate effectively and efficiently. Bad oils actually destroy it. Oils that have been heated, whether it is unsaturated or saturated, no matter which one, if it's heated, it is changed in composition and does damage. Low heat does not destroy. High heat destroys. So let's remember that. Examples, again, of good and bad. Fats the body need, that is the mono and poly unsaturated fats. They come from olive oil, avocado oils, flaxseed oil, oily fish like salmon, sardines, jacks, that type of fish, even from eggs, even though eggs are an animal product. Egg still has omega-3 as its oil. Now, you've seen this picture before with the salmon, the almond, the nuts, the nutty butter, and these at the bottom that contain high loads of the bad fat. When foods are commercialized, the end game of commercialization is to increase profits. The way you increase profits is by reducing expenses. One of the major ways is by reducing expenses. So if you are taking the cheap way out and buying the oil that is cheap, the bad oil, and that is what you're using in your commercial production, then know for a fact if you're purchasing it, if customers come and purchase what you're giving them, they're buying your poison, they're paying for the debt. These are fats to avoid. Animal fats. There are some people who don't believe in trimming the fat of the meat, but animal fats are long chain fatty acids. We find that all of the mono and polyunsaturated fats, the short chain fatty acids and the medium chain fatty acids, they associate themselves with good cholesterol, while the long chain fatty acids and some of the medium chain associate themselves with the bad cholesterol. So in making a choice, once you choose the good oil, some of these products have both cholesterol and oil in it, then you're getting the best. You're getting what the body needs. But these are fats that we should stay away from. Animal fats, bacon, margarine, shortening, sausage, the oil that is in processed sausage. And I would like to say the ultra processed foods. Everything that we have on the bottom row in our diagram, our picture here, are ultra processed. They went through multiple steps in coming to what is being presented here. So that's what you call ultra processing. The more steps in the processing before the final product makes it worse. Okay, because there are a lot of additives, there are a lot of detractions of what is good, a lot of replacement of what is bad to create the end product, and that is the poison. Again, a note here concerning oils. Deep frying changes the chemical makeup of oils. Whether good oil or bad oil, frying alters it, creating cancer agents and contribute to dementia. Pan frying is a better alternative. using the oil only once, and only once, because once the oil is heated, it should be discarded after use. I know that growing up, we used to use oil and use it probably 2 or 3 times before throwing it out. Uh, that's saving money, but at the same time, it was actually killing us because a lot of the diseases that are manifesting now began developing a long time ago. Now we move to cholesterol. What are cholesterols? Cholesterols are waxy, fat-like substances found in all cells of the body. It's necessary for producing vitamin D, hormones, and substances that help digest foods. Our bodies produce cholesterol naturally, but it's also consumed when we eat animal-derived foods. Types of cholesterol. Now, high density lipid. That is what that's the acronym, what the acronym HDL means. High density lipid. These are proteins. This is good cholesterol, where HDL is good. And these make the body, these are made in the body and are extremely important for brain and heart functions. Now, we just saw that short chain fatty acids and some medium chain fatty acids are good for both brain and heart functions. As I said, the good cholesterol and the good oils, they come in the same package. Whereas the low density lipids, the LDLs, this is the bad cholesterol that comes from land animal sources. And I say land animals because fish are animals too, they're just a different type. These are sea creatures. But when we talk about land animals, they give the bad cholesterol, the LDL, and they have negative effects on the brain and heart functions. So when we consider a lot of the heart issues and also the classes of Alzheimer's, you have to consider the type of oil that has been consumed and is still being consumed. One of the ways that we could actually help in every situation for good heart and brain function is to immediately reduce the low density lipids, or that which brings the low density lipids, and those are from animal sources. Reducing it or cutting them out altogether. Effects of high levels of LDL. High levels of LDLs, that is, when levels of LDL outnumber the levels of the HDLs, the results are heart attacks, they're strokes, high blood pressure, arteriosclerosis, and obesity. And here are the 4 phases of cholesterol hardening in the arteries or blood vessels. When we eat a lot of animal products, the more we eat, the more we have the accumulation of the cholesterol. So if we are heavy on animal products, this is what we're doing to our blood vessels. There are herbs and there are plants that can be eaten that will actually help to clear this out over time. But one of the things that we don't want to do is use gasoline to put out the fire. So, and by that I mean, a lot of people said, well, if I eat this, then I could continue to eat what I was eating. The fire will not go out because you're feeding the fire. Whatever is causing the LDL is still coming in the body, even though you're trying to take out its results from the body. So if you're wondering how heart attacks and strokes happen, this is how. But Yah has given us the ability through knowledge and by being subject to his authority to actually walk in healing just by doing what he says, just by walking according to his health guidelines. And as we said from the very beginning on our journey, man was created to eat plants, fruits from the trees, the seed-bearing vegetation from the earth. This is our food. And even when it comes to meat and fish, the Father has selected for us what we should eat and what we should not eat. And those are for our benefits, our health benefits, that is. So he is very, very concerned, and he wants to see us walking in good health. He wants what's good for us. We have to want what's good for ourselves. Now, sources of good cholesterol. There you go. You have your, of course, you see salmon keep popping up. Hey, well, you have the salmon, and even though salmon keep popping up, oily fish, remember, oily fish is what you need to consume a lot of to get that good, the good oil and good cholesterol. Also, the avocado, and avocados is something you cannot get enough of. Avocados in your salad, avocados along with your meal, avocado by itself, avocado. You're getting very, very good oil and cholesterol. Then, of course, you have your nuts and your olives. We're not in the Mediterranean area, so we cannot get fresh olives. Our olives are canned. Our olives are, in some cases, frozen. But even that is better than no olives at all. One of the good benefits is we have olive oil. And one of the things I'd like to tell you about olive oil is not every olive oil on the shelf is the same. There are scammers in the US and in the Mediterranean areas that are producing olive oil, that are mixing the oil with other oils and calling it virgin olive oil and charging you the price of virgin olive oil. There is a list of good brands of olive oils that I will put into our chat for everyone to help you select brands that are genuine. Another thing is, whenever you're dealing with oil, especially oil for consumption, it should always be cold pressed. That means no heat used in the extraction of the oil. If heat is used, you're purchasing damaged products. Any label that does not explicitly say cold pressed, avoid. There you go, avocado, soy, and soy is very good. I give you the warning about soy now. Soy is one of the first grain crops that that was genetically modified. Soy and wheat. Soy, wheat, and corn are the three top. You can hardly find natural corn, natural wheat, or natural soy on the planet. You would have to actually source it from an underdeveloped country that is not using GMOs, but using natural seeds to grow their plants, and also and their harvesting techniques to give you what you really want. So again, what you'd have to do is source these foods properly. Don't just say, go into the store, oh, this is soy, this is good. No, not all soy is soy. Oh, you're buying corn. No, all corn is not corn. And wheat. If from the 1960s, the genetically modified wheat had already covered the planet, then imagine the amount of bread that we're eating, because bread is made from wheat, bleached wheat. And you imagine in the past, without understanding this, that we have been eating these GMOs for a very, very long time and did not know. Well, this gives us a glimpse into why people are not living as long as they used to. And there we go. More sources of good cholesterol. You have your salmon, your beans, oats, oats. Yes, oats has good cholesterol. Nuts, even green tea and strawberries. Okay, and these are some of the natural sources that you can lean on for to help with the good cholesterol. Because what you want to do is you want to raise the amount of the high density, the HDLs, and reduce the LDLs, and then you'll begin to see a reversal of the negative effects both to the heart and to the brain. So it's not too late to start walking this way and making sure that you're putting the right oils and cholesterol in your body and knowing the difference between the two. There's some recommendation on naturally lowering the LDL levels in the body. Now, conditions caused by LDLs can be reversed naturally by doing the following. Minimize consumption of animal products, first of all. Avoid fast foods, deep fried foods, and ultra processed foods. Avoid these altogether. Increase foods known to be sources of HDL, our slide that we just left, the good sources of high density lipids. And believe it or not, everything that you've been asked to do on this challenge works together to help increase HDL in the body, because remember, the body makes it also. Exercising is important for this process to take place. Getting sufficient and quality rest is important to lower the LDL. Everything that we are doing on our journey is what we should be doing. And because it took us at our ages, because I don't think that there is somebody under 20 on the platform. If there is, excellent. But I know there's not. We can start reversing this by walking in it right now. Our Kingdom Lifestyle Modification Challenge, the journey that we're on, is taking us through all of this. So we're getting benefits from the journey that we might not have even imagined or was aware of. As long as we're doing the things that we're learning, we will see the results. And here is images of how to lower the LDL cholesterol. We spoke of it. Reduce the intake of saturated fats. Consume vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, and lean protein. Walking, running, brisk walking, that is physical activity and exercising. The stress management, the mindfulness, the adequate sleep, and maintaining good, healthy connections, social connections. And then making sure that you are monitoring the cholesterol. And this is normally done when you go for the doctor's visit, your primary care doctor's visit, where they would actually check for the levels of all of these. And what I want to share with you is, please do not take cholesterol lowering drugs. Do not take statin drugs. Do not use these drugs to lower your cholesterol. Please eliminate the causes of the LDL, increase the HDL. The statins will destroy your liver and kidney. Okay? So I hope that rung through for everybody. Let's not, if they're prescribed and you don't want to argue with your doctor, take the prescription, never fill it. In summary, both oils and cholesterols are needed in the body to maintain good health. Knowing and choosing the types of oils and cholesterol with their sources can assist in preventing and arresting both heart disease and dementia. The body requires fats called mono and polyunsaturated fats and HDL cholesterol for good function. Combined with mindfulness, exercise, or rest, these choices build strong circulatory and nervous systems. And that is the end of our introduction to fats. Another KLMC webinar information presentation. I do hope you enjoy it. And now, we're going to go into